Today I am doing a collaboration video with DoleWhipDad. You can find him on YouTube and Instagram. On YouTube he is DoleWhipDad, and I'll put a link to his page below. And on Instagram he is DoleWhipDad. So this collaboration video is our favorite ride in each park. I will say in mine I listed 2 for one park and the rest I listed 1. So this collaboration video, the way it works is that he does his and then he sends it to me, I do mine, and I send it to him. And then he incorporates mine into his video and I incorporate his into my video. So this is my first collaboration, so let's just see how it goes. Hopefully it goes pretty well. He does a lot of Disney videos, mainly all of Disney videos. I don't think I've seen any that weren't, but I'm pretty new to YouTube, so I haven't been following his entire YouTube career, and I haven't gone back to look at all the videos because life just gets really busy. But he does make some really good videos, and his daughter makes videos too, so if I can I will put her link below too, right under his. If I can't, you can easily find hers on his page. So let's get on into it. Like I said, the video is for our favorite ride in each park. So it's not our top 5 rides, it's our favorite ride in each park. So I put mine in order of favorite and kind of said why. So let's get started. Like I said, I put them in the order from which I like them the least to the most. And my first one is in Magic Kingdom, and this is the one that has 2. So a little disclaimer here, I have only been to Walt Disney World once in my life, which was last year. I've been to Epcot twice. I've been to Walt Disney World once, so I have not rode every ride. Like I haven't ridden Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean or Big Thunder Mountain, or any of the rides over in Adventureland. And so I haven't rode any of those. So my list is solely based on what I have ridden, not based on popularity. So let's get started. For Magic Kingdom, I had a tie between Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Peter Pan's Flight. My reasoning for this is because Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, my daughter loved. She wanted to ride it again and again, and we only got to ride it once because the wait time was so long, and we did a fast pass for that ride. Peter Pan's Flight. The reason this one is the top over, say, Space Mountain or anything over in Fantasyland, because we did everything we could in Fantasyland, is because Peter Pan reminded me of my childhood. Like I said, I hadn't been to Disney before, but it reminded me of my childhood. It reminded me of watching Peter Pan and wishing I could fly, and you're just suspended up there, and it just, I don't know, it felt magical. So that one is solely based on my thoughts and how I felt about it while I was on the ride. The other one is because my children loved that ride so much that it brought joy to me. So I felt like they were a tie. I couldn't really decide which one was the best, so I picked both. So the next park I'm headed to is Epcot. Epcot, like I said, I had only been to Epcot once before. I went around 11 or 12 years ago when I was pregnant with my son. It was spring break for college, and we were just like, hey, let's go here. And we had a friend that lived in Jacksonville, so we went and stayed with her, and then drove down to Orlando and went for a day trip to Epcot. We were trying to pick which park to go to, and it just made more sense to go to Epcot since I was pregnant and couldn't ride very many rides. Although I do think probably Animal Kingdom might have been better because you could walk around and see the animals, but it was very much like a zoo. I mean, you know, it is a zoo, but it has much more to it. And we had already been to the Jacksonville Zoo that week, so we were like, well, let's just do Epcot. They got to drink around the world. I did not, but I still had a really good time, made so many memories. And my favorite ride from Epcot, and I have ridden every ride there except for Frozen Ever After. Is that what it's called? Frozen, the Frozen ride. I'm sorry if I don't know the exact name. Like I said, I've only been there twice, and it didn't exist the first time I went. And my favorite ride is Soarin'. So if you know why Peter Pan's flight was my favorite ride, then it would make sense that Soarin' would be. And yes, it was Soarin' over California the first time I went, and Soarin' over the world this time, but because there were so many years different, like 11 years in between, I didn't remember the film. I remembered the experience. And that's what gets you right there, because it was the experience of this magical place I'd never been. I rode this ride and I was like, oh wow. And what's funny is when we got to Epcot last year, which was our last day of our week vacation, I was like, okay, I remember the World Showcase. I don't remember the rides. We rode Nemo. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this ride. And then we rode Soarin'. And I was like, oh yes, I remember this ride. But I didn't remember the names of the rides. Then again, maybe I had pregnancy brain. Who knows? I wasn't real far into the pregnancy. Well, I guess I kind of was. I was like 4 or 5 months pregnant at the time. But I wasn't really showing. And I had asked if there were particular rides that I could ride, and this happened to be one of the rides that I could ride. Let's go to my number 2, or yeah, 2, I guess so. Yeah, Animal Kingdom. You know, the first time I went to Animal Kingdom was last year, and we had a fast pass for Navi River Journey, Dinosaur, and the Safari. So those are actually the only 3 rides I've ridden in Animal Kingdom. I haven't ridden Flight of Passage or Everest. We did do a fast pass for Everest, and by that time, no one else wanted to ride it. We were a group of 6, and no one but me wanted to ride it. They were all nauseous, I guess. I'm not really sure. So we didn't ride it. We canceled our fast passes. This year, we are definitely going to ride it because I want to, for one. I'm like, if we're going to be there, we might as well ride one of the rides that everybody talks about, right? Well, we also have one for Flight of Passage. So, out of those 3 rides, it was really hard for me to decide between the Safari and the Navi River Journey. I wasn't really crazy about Dinosaur. I'm not really sure. I think because it was kind of bumpy, and I know it's supposed to be. But I'm going to go with Navi River Journey, and here's why. For the Safari, we went kind of in the middle of the day, but it was kind of stormy. So most of the animals were just kind of either not seen or just laying around. But we did get to a section to where all the giraffes were just going crazy and running around. It was pretty much fantastic. I really loved that. And at first I thought that was my favorite ride. I was like, yeah, I really love that. It probably would be if I had gone earlier in the day when all the animals were more lively. But they weren't. So it's not my favorite. It's like my second favorite, very close to favorite. The reason Navi River Journey is my favorite, and I had not seen Avatar at the time. I got in the boat and it felt magical. It was just so pretty, all the colors and the song, and it gives me the feels. Yeah, like the feels. Like when you're going through there and everybody, all the music, it just touches your heart for some reason. Or mine, and maybe not everybody's, but it touches my heart, even though I had never watched the movie at that time. There was something about it that just gave me all the feels that I love so much, and if I could ride that ride 100 times, I probably would. Number 1 ride is Tower of Terror. My reasoning for this, now, I've only experienced it once, and my daughter freaked out the entire time, so I was holding her, but I was having a blast. Is it had been talked up a lot from when I was a kid to adulthood. Everyone that I knew that had ever been to Disney talked about how scary and how awesome Tower of Terror was. So I had a lot of expectations for it. I really did. And to be quite honest, it met all those expectations. It had the scare factor. It had the heart in your chest, like your heart in your stomach, heart in your head, like where you feel like your heart's just going up and down, just like you are on the ride. It hit every aspect of my anticipation for it. Now, I know that some of the people that I had talked to when I was younger said that they threw up on it. I didn't, and no one in our group did, but I loved it. No one else in my family liked it. It was my favorite. Maybe it has something to do with scary stuff is my jam. And I mean, scary stuff is my jam, I guess, but it isn't at the same time. Halloween's my favorite. And even though the ride isn't necessarily Halloween, it is like the Twilight Zone. So it has that scare factor to it. And because I haven't ridden Haunted Mansion, I can't compare them. And I wouldn't be able to anyway because they're two different parks, right? To recap, tie for Magic Kingdom with Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Peter Pan's Flight. Epcot is Soarin', hands down. There's not even a close second. Navi River Journey is for Animal Kingdom with a very close second of the Safari. And then Hollywood Studios is Tower of Terror. So that's my list. I can't wait to see what DoleWhipDad's list is, see if we have some of the same, see if they're in a specific order for him. And that's all I have. So again, I will put his link below, and if I can find his daughters, I'll put it there, and I'll put his Instagram below. And go check his out, see what he says, and subscribe to him and check out his videos and see what you think of him. He's pretty cool. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.